My parents put my sister in the wedding photos as a bride, then introduced her as the co-bride. The entire reception went silent as Emma stood there in a white dress identical to mine, while my mother raised her champagne glass and announced, "Today, we celebrate both our daughters' happiness." I watched my new husband's face drain of color as cameras flashed around us, capturing the moment my own family hijacked my wedding day. My sister smirked at me with that same victorious expression she'd worn since childhood, whenever she got exactly what she wanted. The guests murmured in confusion as my father stepped forward, his arm around Emma's waist like she was the bride he'd always dreamed of walking down the aisle. My wedding photographer, clearly bewildered, kept snapping pictures as if this was all part of some elaborate plan I'd forgotten to mention. Emma's eyes sparkled with malicious joy as she posed beside me, her hand strategically placed to show off the engagement ring I'd never seen before, a ring that looked suspiciously similar to my grandmother's heirloom that had mysteriously gone missing from my jewelry box last month. What my family didn't know was that I'd been expecting this betrayal for weeks. As a forensic accountant specializing in fraud detection, I'd learned to spot patterns others missed, and Emma's behavior had been following a predictable trajectory since my engagement announcement. They had no idea that while they were orchestrating their little surprise, I'd been preparing my own revelation, one that would expose secrets that would destroy more than just a wedding reception. Growing up as the eldest daughter in the Stevens family had taught me that love was conditional and attention was earned through achievement. My parents, Margaret and Robert Stevens, ran their household like a competition where Emma and I were perpetually vying for the limited approval they doled out. Emma, 2 years younger, had mastered the art of playing victim while simultaneously sabotaging my accomplishments. When I made honor roll, she'd conveniently have a crisis that demanded our parents' attention. When I got accepted to Northwestern University, she suddenly decided she needed intensive therapy for anxiety that coincidentally peaked during my graduation week. But Emma's masterpiece of manipulation had been her reaction to my engagement to David 6 months earlier. While she publicly played the supportive sister role, I'd noticed small but disturbing changes in her behavior. She started asking probing questions about David's family wealth, his job at the investment firm, and our future plans. She began showing up at events where she knew David would be present, always dressed to impress and armed with inside jokes and memories from our childhood that painted her as the more fun, spontaneous sister. The first major red flag had been when Emma volunteered to help with wedding planning despite having no prior interest in event coordination. She insisted on accompanying me to dress fittings, claiming she wanted to be involved in every detail of my special day. During one particularly memorable appointment at an upscale bridal boutique, she'd tried on several dresses, just for fun, including one that was nearly identical to the one I'd chosen. The shop assistant had even commented on how unusual it was for sisters to have such similar taste. David had mentioned Emma's increased presence in his life as well, though he'd dismissed it as typical pre-wedding family bonding. She'd been texting him directly about party details, showing up at his office under the pretense of coordinating surprise elements for me, and even suggesting they grab coffee to discuss bachelor party logistics with his groomsmen. At the time, I'd attributed his mild discomfort to typical awkwardness around new family dynamics. Looking back, I realized Emma had been systematically